The GD was very good and I answered everything. My PI was I was literally expecting that I will definitely convert it. And afterwards, Lucknow and Kozhikode, they were asking me random things. I belong to a finance profile, but in Lucknow, they asked me from history, Ramayana, Mahabharata. I was fully sure that I won't convert it. But eventually, it was totally opposite. I couldn't convert Shillong, but I got offer letters from Lucknow, Kozhikode, and all the CAP IIMs.
While the interview got over, I stood up and told them thank you, and then I was just leaving. Then they stopped me and they just asked me one last question. That is this your best call? I told them yes, this is my best call, and they just smiled and then we said goodbye to each other. That's it.
Krishna, being a NIFT student, please tell us some PI experience during the IIM admissions.
I had calls from basically Kozhikode and IIMKs, Visakhapatnam, Amritsar, Nagpur. So my first interview was with IIMKs. It was on 14th of Feb last year, 2023. I was just hearing from my friends that they are just taking an interview of 15-20 minutes and then that's done. And for me, it was actually less because whenever I have appeared for an interview, it has gone for at least for half an hour. So the first question that the interviewer asked me was like, why this sudden shift from from NIFT to this IIMs, why MBA? You did not have any career in NIFT, all those questions. So you just need to justify why do you want to shift, and there is justification for every course, and for NIFT it becomes much easier. Also, I belong to BF Tech. So, it becomes much easier because whoever has studied from NIFT and knows the course of BF Tech, then they teach us, the management part. Like we are taught about the marketing, we are taught about the merchandising. The same thing we are being taught here also. Not exactly the same, but yes, kind of. It is almost on that page only. Also, the second question that was not at all relevant to my NIFT. The second question was like that day there was a match of India going on, test match of India. So they asked me about the score, what is the current score, because I had mentioned that I am interested in cricket. Luckily, I had just checked the score before 5 to 10 minutes. I just told them the score and this was it. My CAP interview was over. And after the interview, I thought that I won't get selected because the interviewer did not ask me anything about my work ex or anything related to about my subjects, nothing. So I was just scared and I was also disappointed. But then ultimately, finally, I got all the calls from CAP.
So hi guys, my name is Shubham Kumar. So basically, I got calls from Lucknow, Kozhikode, Shillong, and all the CAP IIMs. So I'll tell you about my experience. I didn't join any kind of coaching institute or anything. I prepared for myself. I used to read newspapers, watching different news channels. So I try to be more aware about what's going into the outside world and more aware about my profile, because one thing my seniors also advised me that they will ask everything from your profile in deep, wherever you are you have worked at, or anywhere you are coming from, your city, the city where the college is situated in. So I try to be more aware about everything. And what actually went is, my first interview was Shillong one and it went well. The GD was very good and I answered everything. My PI I was literally expecting that I will definitely convert it. And afterwards, Lucknow and Kozhikode, they were totally, I would say, unpredictable. It was not planned. They were asking me random things. I belong to a finance profile, particularly worked at KPMG, but in Lucknow, they asked me from history, Ramayana, Mahabharata. So it was totally unpredictable for me. So even after when I came back from the Lucknow interview, I was fully sure that I won't convert it. But eventually, when the results actually came, so it was totally opposite. I couldn't convert Shillong, but I got offer letters from all the IIMs, Lucknow, Kozhikode, and all the CAP IIMs. So one thing I would definitely advise you all is, the interview is totally, you can't plan it, what questions they will ask. You can read multiple transcripts, but in reality, it is totally random. They will ask you first your name and city you're coming from. They will ask you in deep about your city. They will ask you everything what's going on into, like, currently what is going on. One thing that you can actually control is how you communicate. Your communication skills are the one which I also kept constant at my time, no matter like when I'm answering wrong or right. But because my communication was pretty good and I was so confident, I was literally smiling. I was kind of having a good conversation with them. So that thing really matters, and that actually reflects upon your personality as well, that in tense situations you are very confident. So yeah, that was one of my experience.
So another call I had from IIM Code. So this was the best call I had. So the interview happened on 10th March. I went for the interview at Dwarka, Delhi, Radisson Blue. So the moment I entered the Radisson Blue, we went for the registration and the VAT process happened. After the VAT, when I was called for the interview, my number was last in my group. When I entered, my interview went on for 25 to 30 minutes. So the questions they asked me was like mostly based on, again, why NIFT to MBA and WorkX. So the first question they asked me was please explain why do you want to switch. I explained them about I have read about the operations, I have read about the bit about marketing, I know about the costing. I explained them the breakdown of a shirt, how a shirt is made. So they were just convinced. A big point is in our fashion industry also, like if you take a brand like Arrow, all the brands, not only Arrow, any brand you name, they all require a GM, they all require a brand manager. So from where do they come from? They are all MBA graduates. Like I have worked for Arrow also, not worked, basically interned. Then my brand manager was from NIFT Delhi, and then he did his MBA from IIM Lucknow. So I gave him this example also. So he was convinced. Then after that he came to my job, what I used to do, and then why didn't I continue? I left that job after a year. So I explained them the journey. My first job was at Orient Craft, Gurgaon. So COVID happened in 2020, so I had to quit the job. Also, I was not liking the production work export house, and during the COVID I did not get any job. So I started my own startup named 11trick.com. So yeah, it was based on fantasy gaming like Dream 11. They cut me in between and they asked me like why again a shift, like you have been just jumping NIFT to then job, then to this startup which is not at all related to NIFT or the course that you have studied. After my startup I have joined retail house that belongs to home furnishing brand, Flow & Furnishing, based out of Gurgaon. So all these were in my resume and they were like literally confused and curious, like why are you jumping so much? After that Flow & Furnishing, I'm here for MBA. I just explained them, I just related, made a genuine story, and it is actually genuine about the production. So I went to the export house, I did the merchandising there. During COVID I did not get a job, so I thought of starting something. I always dreamt of I have a business of my own. I just wanted to try, so I just tried, invested something with my friends, but due to some financial reason, management, it failed. So again, the justification I gave this for the MBA was like, I just failed at managing my team and I failed at managing my finances. So I realized that I need to do an MBA. Thereafter, I joined the Flow & Furnishing, that retail house. So justification for that was, that I did not want to sit idle for 1 year and then give the CAT. It's better to get a job and then prepare along with it. And finally, I cracked the CAT in 2023, and then finally I'm here.
So as I shared, I was working as an audit associate at KPMG, and because it was a long work ex, 23 months, so the panel asked me in deep what are the clients I worked with, how aware I was about audit. So that is one of the things, and of course what are the situations that I faced, what are all the work types, and how I tackled any kind of situation or adapted into any kind of challenge I was facing. Because in audit there are busy seasons as well. Sometimes it is very difficult. They asked me in deep what clients I worked with. So yeah, I worked in a BPO as well during my college days. So they asked me from there also, if you have WorkX, then be prepared with it. They will ask you anything in deep. I did BCom honors from DU. So they asked me about some of the subjects, particularly economics. They asked me about Keynes' contribution into the economics, and also some accountancy, basic ratios, equations. It is kind of a basic thing, but I would say be prepared with all of your subjects that you studied in your undergrad.
What they didn't ask me was a single question was not there from my syllabus, because I have a work ex of more than 36 months. So they did not ask me a single question about syllabus. They gave me a case like if you're a store manager in a mall and there is a sudden crowd due to some festive, you have lack of changing rooms. How will you manage it? So they told me that you can take 10-15 seconds, think, and then answer. So I did not take any 10-15 seconds. I just started answering. They stopped me. They said, "You thought?" I told them, yes, I have the answer. What did I tell them? That you use the concept of movable toilets. Similar to that, you can use that movable changing rooms. Like you will save on the cost, you will save on the space, you'll save on the permanent infrastructure cost, all those things. So I made them count all these things, and also whenever needed you can shift it, whenever you don't need it you can just remove it. So, and it's also cost friendly. So ultimately it's all about the cost, saving the cost. And the interviewer was like really impressed. He was like, why haven't anyone thought about this till now? I just told them that, sir, I have no idea, but then if I get a chance I'll surely implement this, because I guess this is the best what I can think of right now.
Because I was from Delhi, they asked me about some little bit of history of Delhi as well, and what measures that I personally can suggest that can be helpful in tackling the pollution, particularly in Delhi. So they were just asking me about my point of view. They were trying to analyze that what kind of a mindset I have and I'm able to solve any kind of a problem or not. For pollution, what I answered as far as I can recall, the major threat was stubble burning in north side, particularly in Punjab side. So what I mentioned there, I suggested some measures if we can somehow convert it into biocompost or a biodegradable waste. And also 40% of Delhi's pollution came from vehicles only. So odd even is already there, but introduction of biofuel or hydrogen fuels, for which Delhi government is also taking some steps.
Also, the interview got interesting when they just started asking me about the quants. My quant score was really low. I had qualified marginally in that. They asked me some question related to function or something was like that. So I directly told them, I did not give them any excuse. I just directly told them that, sir, don't ask me quants because I am really bad at it. I won't be able to answer. I'll have to give you some excuses. And both of them started laughing, and they were like, then how did you even qualify, and why do you think that you'll cope up at IIMs even if you qualify? So I told them that I know basic maths, I know arithmetics. I am not so bad because I have actually qualified, but marginally. But yes, I have qualified. I had good percentile in DARC and then DILR. So I just gave them the example of DILR, that you required some kind of analytical skills and mathematical skills in solving the DILR too. So I just told them, and they were like, okay, fine. We won't be asking you maths. But still, there were two panelists. One was sir, one was ma'am. Another was ma'am. The ma'am again started asking about maths. Then the sir tells her that, ma'am, he just told that he does not know maths. So don't ask him maths, ask him something else. So they told me, what should we ask him? I told them, you can ask me anything other than maths. So then they jumped to my work ex. There is a student who is just a fresher, who is just passed out. So they should know the details about their internship, graduation projects, apparel production project. So they should know about their subjects, technical subjects. Yes, when I was there in NIFT, there used to be a subject SPME. That was important. That was related to machines. Also, you should be knowing the operation breakdown of few garments. Like if you ask me, I know the operation breakdown of t-shirts, shirts, trousers, all those things. So you should be, and it should be on your fingertip. Like, they ask you and you should not take a moment to think. You should just go and answer, because trust me, not everybody knows. You have already made lots of garments. You should be knowing about all this. You should be knowing the technical terms like GSM, like thread counts, EPI, PPI, all those things. You should just shoot all these terms at them. And if you are like, you have the work ex of 20 months, more than that, or any kind of work ex for that matter, don't consider it like 6 months or 7 months. But yes, if you have good enough work ex, you should be prepared in details about your day-to-day job, what you do, how you do it, how many team members you are handling, how you are managing your pressure, to what time are you working, and then hourly breakup. If not hourly, but then divide your day into 4 parts, and then you can answer that. So you should know about your brand, what your brand makes, and what's the cost. You should be knowing the costing of a garment or the product you are dealing with. Costing, they'll surely ask. They had asked me also, tell me the cost price and then tell me the margin. If you have the work ex, you'll know all these things easily. Not a big deal. Lastly, you should be knowing the quality checking parameters. What are the quality checking parameters? They had asked me, if you are constructing a garment for the kids, what are the parameters? So you should be knowing whatever product you are dealing with. You can be dealing with shoes, you can be dealing with women's wear, you can be dealing with men's wear. Know each and every detail of it. Detail as much as, like how many stitches are there in 1 inch. So yes, you should be knowing that much of detail. So they should know about the technicalities of the machines. In the SPI of machine, you should be knowing the SPI used on the garment.